Hi, Ron.
Okay, call the meeting to order. You join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Our purpose of our meeting tonight is to approve the TIF, and we have two areas. It's areas A and B. Mr. Steele Smith, would you like to elaborate a little bit on that?
The one area is in the micro area, which is down Fancher Road and just north. That we deemed as most eminent for development. The other area is the Trenton Road corridor from 605 towards to our boundary next to Galena. And that is just the Trenton Road properties only, which shows on the map. And so that's because of Sunbury coming down to NAC.
Now, are those whole properties at front Trenton Road, or did you draw through a section line, or you didn't split properties?
Never split properties.
Okay.
We don't split properties. We work on zoning on the overlay. The zoning will say so many feet back, you can do something. And then beyond that, you can do something else, but we don't split properties.
Okay.
So, and this did not split any properties.
Okay. And we did give the school board, Big Walnut Schools and Johnstown Monroe 14-day notice.
Yes.
We did get correspondence from recognizing it, and
Yes.
And Holly Matty answered that correspondence.
Pete worked it out and answered them.
Okay.
They were just canned letters.
Yes. Yeah. Is there any other discussion?
Just curious, I know we received a map that showed the lines so that we could clearly see what the areas are. Is there a way to make that public for our residents? Both the language of the TIF and that map so that people are aware of the areas that are TIFed?
Yeah,
It's on there.
it's on there.
Yep,
It's already up.
it's already up.
Awesome.
I have it on the public notice. It's
Good.
attached on there, and then it was also attached to the calendar invite for this meeting.
Good.
And
Thank
it'll
you.
follow that Trenton TIF or Trenton overlay also.
Okay.
They go together,
Okay.
so to speak, so it'll be pretty right there.
Good.
No deviations.
Good. Thank you. That's
And
great.
to clarify, A is the South District, South area, and B is Trenton Road.
All right. I don't know.
I'm just asking.
Color A and B.
Well, that's how it was referred to in the document.
Yeah, I
Okay.
Just for sake of public record, could you just give an update on kind of where we are with the Columbus sewer trunk and timeline, and the discussion you've had with Tiffany Meg at Delaware County regarding development after that, just to kind of put a timeline for ourselves and for residents on when we really think something like this might be executed?
Well, so the southern area, Columbus is still looking at late winter of 2026 to be finished. Tiffany Mag has put out they're bidding the engineering now for a leg coming off of, which I believe I went over at the last trustees meeting, the leg coming off of the Columbus trunk and where it comes up Harlem Road, just north of Fancher and stops. So she wants that, of course, you never know, but she wants the bidding on that done and drawn. And they would actually like to have construction started when Columbus finishes.
Which, just for clarity, is April of 26, correct?
It bounces.
Okay. The last conversation I had a couple weeks ago, April of 26 was the time frame.
Yeah, it depends. Then all of a sudden, if they make more headway boring or whatever they're doing,
Right.
you know, so, I think we'll be a month early.
And based on easements that they get or don't get,
Oh, you're talking about Tiffany.
either way, that you're really
Okay,
kind
now
of looking
Tiffany,
at,
So her drawing, her preliminary drawing is exactly right. It's based on easements.
yes.
And so what they'd like to do, which is what the original drawing shows, if they can't get easements that way, then they maybe go behind that property
Right.
or on the other side of the street of that property. So it just depends. I've talked to, in my report, I talked to the large landowners. And then the county has a person that will talk to the regular homeowners.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you leave that up to them, but the large property owners I talked to, nobody has a problem.
Copy. So, and what do you think, Jim, for when an execution, for when do you think a developer might actually say, hey, I'd like to execute this overlay for a portion for development? What's a guesstimate at this point?
I have one, 3 who said they'll start planning in the first of 2025. And it takes about a year. So what they're trying to do is coordinate when
Right.
that sewer gets done
Right.
or before.
Yeah.
But one is not the one that just came on board, so to speak, isn't real familiar with our overlays and stuff. So I had to walk them through that. But most of them realize, even without the township, if you're dealing with the county and that type of thing, them getting it drawn up, them going through all the processes with the traffic studies, the water and soil, it takes about a year.
Yeah.
For them to do that. So 2 have said that they're gonna start at the beginning of 2025 in earnest. Another one hasn't decided. They've got a lot of property, which is the Steiner Company.
Sure.
And they have a lot of property. They are working on some other projects, but they're going to get with us this fall and start sitting down, going over best uses and what they want to do versus our overlays and that type of thing. So that will come shortly also.
So you think probably at about the same time that they're finishing the sewer and April of 26, May of 26.
So what happens is we got 2 or 3 properties that are on that tree trunk, as I call it, that
Yes.
the county's paying for.
Yes.
They're in striking distance
Yep.
of that. Then from there, it depends on how we're gonna run the sewer, what funds available, how fast the developers wanna go as it heads east.
Great. That gives us time to prepare, of course, and think about how we handle this administratively and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we have, our overlays, it has a separate section for procedures. And, how the developer would go about that and how the township gets notified. And, that type of thing. And in there, you do coordinate with the county. And, it's quite
Auditor.
complex. That's why it takes a year.
Yeah.
And, but we also have building standards and that type of thing in there, trying to keep, rural feel, no super modern type looking buildings and that type of thing. Also specs on, materials and, that type of thing, which we've made everybody that inquires aware of that.
Sure.
So that they don't get surprised, or at
Yeah.
least we know they're not surprised.
Yeah.
And, so there again, the caveat is, how fast they get started. Construction wise, boots on the ground, you don't know what they're gonna hit, what's gonna happen, a lot of rain,
Sure.
something in the tunnel, something on this, you don't know.
I want to, I think, assure our residents that we're not getting in over our heads by passing this afternoon, that nothing's going to change immediately, that
Nothing
we
changes.
have time to work on this in its application and execution. So it's a responsible decision.
I believe so, and the thing of it is, it's a holding place. In other words, we have a TIF,
Yes.
and when we pick a project for it to go on to, we will probably negotiate. And probably if we start the 10-year TIF and talking with Pete, we can change it to the 30. And that's where you bring in the schools and the county and, get into more in depth. But it is a placeholder to keep somebody else from jumping on top of it.
Yeah.
And taking that money that would, the township would be available to the township.
Yeah.
And taking it for themselves.
Do you imagine in the near future that you might be able to make numbers public for the residents on projections, say over some area that gets developed out and your guesstimate, we think this is going to be this kind of money to the township over these many years?
Oh, yeah, well, we know we have a private developer that's doing that.
Yeah,
We ran some, we're starting to run numbers, in-house a little bit, just trying to see if we're somewhat along the same lines as he is. Numbers are big, but so are the construction costs.
yes,
So I think the negotiating part when we get into NCAs, which will be a big deal.
right.
The negotiating, and we haven't got there yet. And the trustees will of course be the final word and that type of thing. Is to negotiate so that we do have money and or land or both. For facilities, fire department, whatever, road maintenance, that type of thing. And we are in a position by putting this TIF in first. To be in that position, in other words, we're sitting at the head of the table when it comes to it, and rather than sitting at the kiddie table.
Right.
And for the residents, that's a big deal. And because human nature is you're always gonna take everything you can. So, you know, if a developer can squeeze an extra money out for an extra road or an extra piece of this or an extra piece of that. And then we say, no, we know that's not necessary. We need this, or we're gonna use it for that. Everything in the TIF has to be used for the TIF area.
Right.
And also in the NCA, when that's more of the residential. And that has to be used for that area. Now, doesn't mean you can't, in talking with Pete, our attorney, and once he's done, that doesn't mean you can't repave a road leading to that area, because it is actually helping improve that area.
Mhm.
So fire department, there's certain regulations, some things you can use the money on, some things you can't. That's another ball of wax, but we can use money for them. It's just certain things you can, certain things you can't. Same way with the township maintenance and that type of thing. So it's pretty broad, and that money will come in handy in servicing those areas.
I wonder, I think it's great that we've got that information up on the website, and I think we also put up an FAQ page regarding TIFs as well. And maybe after this is implemented, an article or something from you about the future and how this might be executed and the benefits of that might be very helpful for residents. Because I'm not sure, I know that it was surprising to me to see the impact of something like this and the benefit for the township.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think that people really grasp those things. So for what it's worth.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll work with Holly. We'll see where we can come up. She's done a few of these. So we'll see how they address their residents and see if we can correlate and fix that so it addresses our residents.
Copy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the board? Any of the public have any questions or comments?
The southern tip, the same area as the southern overlay. You know, there's that overlay for mixed commercial, I think it is, along the south part of the township. It's taller over towards the west corner there.
No, the southern TIF is the micro area.
Like that little dark blue on there.
Well, it goes above that a little bit,
Thanks.
but the TIF
It's hard
only
to tell
used.
from the whole township map and you look.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
So
goes
the TIF
north
can
of
only
that.
be Used on that blue type area. It can't be used on the residential,
Thanks.
this particular kind of TIF.
Okay, anything else? Board like to make a motion to approval, and I would include the paragraph in bold print this part of it, please.
I move to approve signing of the TIF. Resolution exempting improvement to certain real property from real property taxes, identifying certain public infrastructure improvements that are of public purpose and, once made, will directly benefit the real property, requiring the owners of the real property to make service payments in lieu of taxes, establishing a township public improvement tax increment equivalent fund, and related authorizations. Big Walnut TIF.
For a second,
I will second, just note that TIF is 1F.
okay. Is there, any discussion when the motion is made? Not, we have a roll call vote, please.
Jackson,
Aye.
Holiday,
Aye.
Trainer.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. The TIF has been approved. We can sign that document if somebody has it. Any other business this evening?
I don't think we can create it out of thin air, can we?
That,
Business.
Something else to talk about.
Right.
no,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the special meeting.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Lindsay, you missed it.
Hey, Bob, just a second.
Second.